errors/omissions are solely the editor's responsibility and not the fault of the authors. In an effort to release this audiobook on time, we have made the decision to compile entries from all 4 archivists and include original notes, interviews, and comments supplied by relevant parties as they appeared. The Archive Department. Introduction. What you are listening to is the secret history of the universe. This history reaches from the very beginning of time. In fact, if the legends are true, it reaches back even further, up to the very recent past. Here you will find the obscurest of god myths, standing shoulder to shoulder with confirmed, provable fact. And you'll find that one is as impressively outrageous as the other. As part of the High Sanctuary's drive to catalogue the many occasions where the world has been threatened by sorcerers, and subsequently saved by other sorcerers, we have come, inevitably, to the tale of Skulduggery Pleasant. I do not claim to know him well, and I certainly do not claim to be his friend. I've met him only 3 times over the years. The first 2 times he insulted me, and the 3rd time he insulted me and my wife. Suffice it to say, I do not like the man. I find him arrogant, insufferable, and rude. You may be wondering, therefore, why I have insisted on providing this introduction. To put it plainly, this is an opportunity to tell him what I think of him, in a medium in which he cannot immediately reply with a sarcastic one-liner or a supposedly witty observation about my taste, my intelligence, or the underlying motivations for my bias. I have no bias against Skulduggery Pleasant. I simply don't like him. I admit somewhat grudgingly that he has saved the world on occasion. I admit that he has put a stop to people even worse than himself. I haven't read the book, or indeed listened to the version that you are listening to, save for the interesting bits about the gods and such, because suffering through an entire tome about the fabled skeleton detective is more than I could possibly handle. The only redeeming factor about this entire enterprise is that this will only ever be used as a reference tool, perhaps to check dates or deaths, or as a quick reminder of a madcap escapade he had once upon a time. But mostly it will be put on a shelf to gather dust, or sit in a cloud somewhere, and no one but those on the Council of Elders will have access to it. I don't know why the story of Skulduggery Pleasant garners such secrecy. I'm a sorcerer, and I'm over 400 years old, and no one wants to file any of my adventures in the top secret section. And I have had some hair-raising adventures, believe you me. Maybe they're not as obvious as his, though. Maybe they don't have the same kind of mass appeal. Perhaps if I'd made more jokes while I was engaged in fisticuffs, or if my enemies had been a little more flamboyant in their appearance, or ridiculous in their ambitions, maybe then I'd be a household name. But of course, he isn't alone, is he? He has a partner. Astonishingly, however, Valkyrie Kane is every bit as reckless, irresponsible, and sarcastic as he is. When she first burst onto the magical scene, she was a precocious 12-year-old who hurtled into danger with her head down and her eyes closed. Now that she's in her mid to late 20s, the only difference I can see is that she's in her mid to late 20s. I'm not even going to mention what she did. I'm not even going to say that name. It's all here, presumably. If you don't know, you can find out for yourself. Far be it from me to spoil the surprise.